What's up, everybody? Graham here with
Autumn.
and we have a special video for you guys tonight talking about how to make a long distance relationship
Work.
and we have a little bit of insight on this considering you've been doing it for about a year and a half now, from Philadelphia to
San Francisco.
and I know she loves when I have her interject in this way, and I think it's great. The give and take is key. And with that said, we're also going to talk a little bit about the three keys that have helped us to have a successful long-term relationship. And by successful, I mean every time we see each other, we get closer together, we form a tighter bond, and we are getting closer to the point where we're going to be living together and being together way more often. So I think that that's trajecting in the right direction. So with that said, I'm going to start with the first one. Autumn's going to go with the second one, and then we're both going to kind of hit on the third one. But the first one, guys, is all about commitment, okay? And I've talked to some people over the summer who asked me, Graham, how do you do this long-distance relationship? Here's the secret. It all starts with commitment, guys. That's the first and foremost thing, right? Without commitment, and not just to her, commitment to yourself. You have to first commit to yourself that, hey, I want to be in a relationship, and I'm okay with it being long distance. Because if you don't commit to yourself before you commit to that person, well, then you're not going to be able to commit to that person fully because you haven't even committed to yourself that, hey, do I really want to be in this relationship? Right? If you ask yourself, look in the mirror, do I really want to be in this relationship? If you're committed, the answer is 100% yes. I love this relationship. I want to keep growing, and I'm learning to become more a part of it and it become more a part of me. Versus, do I really want to be in this relationship? Right? If that happens, then that hesitation, maybe you need to rethink the fact that you're even in the relationship. But as far as commitment is concerned, if you can first commit to yourself and get to a place where you look in the mirror and, like I said, you say, hey, I really want to be a part of this relationship, I want to grow with this person, then you can go to that person and say, hey, I really want to be in this relationship with you. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. So are you interested in being in a long distance relationship with me for the time being until we're in a place where we can become a lot closer together? Right? Commitment. Without commitment and knowing that you're committed to a higher ideal, a higher form, a higher purpose for your relationship, which is going to be the second thing she's going to talk about, then you're not going to be able to make it last, right? You have to be committed. And for me, I'll use myself as the example. For our relationship, it was easy for me at the beginning to know Autumn was a committed person because Autumn had her own business and I could tell she was insanely committed to it and had already made a commitment to herself that she wasn't going to date any other guys until she was going to marry them. So puts me in an interesting position.
It was a lot behind that, not just like I gotta marry anybody I see.
Of course. It had to be the right person.
Yeah.
But my point is, like, that's commitment. So when I saw that type of commitment, it allowed me, who was already committed to myself, become committed to somebody else. And now we are committed together, right?
Yeah.
So first and foremost, if you're doing a long distance relationship, you need to have commitment. First to yourself, then to your significant other.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. The second point is purpose. So something that for me is the biggest thing ever, because I was actually looking at this video by Teray Roberts, and he was saying that, like, you should have chemistry with a person. Obviously, if I'm not attracted to you, how am I going to be with you? Like, looks aren't everything, but to a certain degree, I want to be attracted to the person I'm with, and that's great. And there are like other points, but the one that clicked for me the most was just having purpose with that person. That's how I was able to decipher if, like, this guy right here was the right person for me. Because if we don't have, like, a reason why we're doing this, or if there's no way for me to, like, make this relationship different from my other relationships and, like, see that it is different from other relationships and I don't see the, like, quality in it, the purpose of our relationship is just to, like, use our different gifts and, like, talents to help each other, but then also help other people, and then come together to help other people. And we do a really great job of that, I would say. So that's, I wanted to make sure.
Through this, right? This is literally a form of it.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure that, because, like, I mean, when I was, to be quite honest, like, I was dating someone, it was like it's like 2 dates before, like a couple months before I actually officially started dating Graham. And I was dating this guy, and I didn't see where his career lined up with mine, and I was like, where are we gonna have purpose in this? Because I love animals, but he wanted to be a forest ranger, and I was like, well, I really want to help people, like, mentally, and like help them to know themselves. And I didn't see how we kind of lined up with each other, but on paper he was great. But I didn't feel as though there was like a deeper purpose in this. Like, how are we going to help people? Like, how are we going to actually not individually make ourselves like less than, or like bring down our own individuality and like purpose by being with each other? Because I just feel like when it's like two different, you don't have to have the same purpose, but we both need to have purpose within the relationship that we can both agree on. So that's something that we both agree on, is helping other people. But my past relationship, it was not like that. So that's a huge thing. So it allows you to just be in that relationship longer, because you know there's a bigger thing, bigger than just us.
Right, bigger vision for us.
Yeah.
And I think that that was really well put. And I want to add on top of that I think that when Autumn is talking about a higher purpose for the relationship and coming together, I think that a really, really simplistic way to put it is that Autumn has a purpose, I have a purpose. Together, we have a purpose, because I'm able to bring the best out of Autumn, and Autumn's able to bring the best out of me, because we set our intentions via our purpose as we want to serve people on a higher level, which forces me to have to tell Autumn the harsh things that are going to help her grow, and vice versa. And I think we've done a good job of that, and especially in a long-distance relationship, having purpose and something to unify us closer and hold us to a higher standard for ourselves has been essential in our growth, because whenever we get to a point where we're battling with one another over something silly and stupid, that is what always takes precedent over us and forces us to snap out of it and get back to reality, which is that we both love each other very much, and we're in the process of loving ourselves more every single day as well, and that those things happen, but we have a higher purpose, and we need to make sure that we're growing towards that. Otherwise, you know, our relationship could be on the fringe, right? Because there has to be, that's like the keystone of the relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're in a long distance relationship, like, you do know that like it's not as easy as a regular relationship, because you're not always seeing that person, and like it's like you have to have something to hold on to while that person's not there. I can't always be on the phone with him, we can't always text. So just having something that like this person does differently, or like something to where you can hold on to, because they're not always there. Just like a regular relationship, but it's different with long distance. It's a lot different.
Especially when you're only seeing the person, you know, and for some of you guys,
some people only see their
couple times
once
year.
a year. That's
some people like
hard.
once a month. I hope people once every couple months. For us, it's usually like 4 to 6 weeks off, and then 2 weeks straight on.
We do pretty good with that. And that's another thing. Like for us with purpose, because we have like adjacent type of purposes, we're able to just see each other a little more often, because we're both entrepreneurs. You don't have to like make sure that you're with an entrepreneur. Not saying that. But just like for us, that's where like just click, because I'm able to do this because I can just like, oh, I want to go see him. I don't have to like call off and like different things like that. It just makes it easier for it to happen. But if you're not in a place where it's easy for it to happen, then you just, like I said, like have something that you can like hold on to about that person, and having that purpose, that way you can like keep going with that relationship. Doesn't mean that it has to end at all, because it can work. It's literally just distance. So.
And I think that's a good transition into the final part, which is about communication. It's number 3. But real quick, I want to jump back, because as far as purpose is concerned, without the commitment to the relationship, commitment to yourself and then to the relationship, there won't be a purpose, right? You need to be able to commit to that higher ideal, to that higher vision of what you guys want to create. And in the process of that, cultivate the purpose that you choose to be in alignment with, right? And then finally, if you can communicate back and forth about all the little blips and adversities that are going to come between all that stuff, then you guys are going to be in amazing shape. So as far as communication is concerned, that's number 3. And for me, what I've learned about communication in a long-distance relationship in general, is it's a combination of being vulnerable and also asking the right questions at the right times, like not holding back when you know you need to help that person, right? Because in the end, guys, it's not about who wins. It's about us growing together. And that is so fucking important. They talk about purpose. The purpose is for us to grow together. If I'm too busy sitting over here going like, I want to make sure that I outsmart Autumn, or that I'm getting the upper hand, or that blah, blah, blah. Well, then all we're doing is just going at each other and actually pulling each other down, doing quite the opposite of what a relationship is supposed to do, right? A partnership in that regard. So for communication, the one thing that I've really learned through our relationship is that when I am open and vulnerable, it allows Autumn to be more open and vulnerable with me. And she taught me something really powerful, and the power of asking the correct questions, right? To get to the root of what's bothering me. Like if something's really hurting me or bothering me or I'm in a tough spot, Autumn is always the person to ask the questions to help me heal, right? All she wants to do is be there for me and help me put me in a good position to be healthy and happy. And that could be something as simple as I don't really like, for example, let's just say, because this is a great example, when we first started dating, I didn't like, she posted in this one video, like her boobs were out, and I was like really, I was really self-conscious about it. I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, I don't know how I feel about that, right? And so in the process of that, though, I was able to kind of express that to her, and she was open enough to receive that from me, and this was very early in our relationship, and see my point of view on it and how I didn't really feel comfortable with it. But at the same token, I knew internally that it was absolutely, unequivocally not my place to judge Autumn or tell Autumn what she can or can't wear or how she can or can't act. That's not my place, right? All my places do is say, hey, we made a commitment to each other of this higher purpose. This is how I feel about what you're doing right now, and if it's not in alignment with all that stuff, maybe that's something you need to think about or something we need to discuss together. But having that open communication channel, which all starts with me being vulnerable to her. If I'm not vulnerable to her, how is she going to be vulnerable to me? How are we going to open up to each other so that we can grow together? Right? Communication is all about being vulnerable and asking the right questions. Would you agree?
I definitely agree with that. Communication is it's not easy, just because, especially I feel like with long distance, like you really don't have a choice but to be vulnerable if it's even gonna work.
Right.
Like I'm a very secretive person, so I don't really let people in. Like I really don't. And so with Graham, I just really felt like I had to, obviously, because I wanted it to work. Like I am very committed to him, and I seen the purpose was there, and I loved him so much, and everything is like aligning. And I was like, I love him, like I really do, but like there's this thing back in my head where like, oh God, I know I have to say certain things, and I don't want to, but you just like, I had that pressure to do it, and so I started to open up a lot more, and it helped our relationship a lot. And even though you're risking this person, you know, like not reacting the way that you would want them to react, or breaking up with you, whatever it is.
Judging you, breaking up with you.
Right. It's like, for me, getting it off of my chest helps the most, a lot more than the fear of them rejecting me. I don't want to like live with me never saying, oh my God, like this really hurt me, you know, like, but I love you, but this hurt me, instead of just like, F you, I'm going on silent treatment, you know? Like, just communicate it, and just think of it as like, if I don't do it now, when can I do it? Because anything could happen. That's just in life in general, and you just don't want to regret not telling that person and going through this whole, is it called debacle?
Sure, debacle.
This whole thing on like the root source, the root cause of everything was just you not being open and saying what was wrong in the first place. A lot of times we do that, and we don't need to do that, you know? So just being open. It's not easy, but it's worth it. So.
And I think building upon that too, as far as what you said about having a debacle if you don't communicate openly, going a little deeper with that, the things that you hold in and repress, guys, and suppress, is all stuff that will eventually manifest in ugliness some way, shape, or form in your relationship. Right? Eventually you'll bottle it all up, and that one time and that person didn't pay for your meal when you guys went out together, or that one time when they didn't get the milk and refill it, or that one time when they didn't make the bed, it's going to snap and you're going to lose it. And all that stuff you were hiding and holding in is going to come lashing out, and the other person's really going to be confused, really seriously question, do they really want to be in this relationship with you? Because why would you treat me like that? And 3, oh, now you kept secrets from me. Why? Right? So now you have all these things, guys. The bigger that you, the more you suppress everything and you're not open and honest, the bigger it gets. And when it does come out, that is the opportunity for the relationship to experience major friction and could potentially fracture the relationship. But if you have all these little things with the communication every day, just little things. Boom, 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 boom. You handle them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now at the same token, you're building layers of the relationship foundation on communication. Again, so commitment, being committed. First, you have to be in that position. If you're going to do a long distance relationship or relationship in general, you have to be in a place where you're committed to yourself enough to be committed to someone else.
Yeah.
If I'm committed to myself, committed to my career, committed to my future, committed to the vision of what I want, and she's committed to herself, committed to her career, committed to the vision of what she wants, and those things align, now we have purpose in our relationship. We want to achieve blah, blah, blah for our relationship. Now, as long as we communicate through all the adversity that we're each going through in our lives and have gone through, and we're on the same page, we can build a foundation on which a relationship will be healthy and prosperous.
Yep.
And that is what we've been doing in our relationship. And the firemen don't care about our video, but they're good people, so it's all good.
Oh man, but yeah, that's pretty good.
Anything you want to add?
I'm thinking, I feel like with long distance, it's not really, when you're in it, like, you don't really think about it being a long distance relationship.
That's
I feel
'cause
like
you're
it's
committed.
so, yeah, like it's just so, I'm with this person. Like I don't really see it like that. Just like I don't really see us as like an interracial couple, but I don't see him as a race. Obviously we're interracial, but like, you know, like I'm not focusing on that. So it's like when you're in a long distance relationship, like you don't really focus on it because you're just so into that person. A lot of times when you're in a long distance relationship, you're actually spending more time with that person than people who are like with each other do, because they're always working, and like sometimes people find excuses on why they can't talk to you and like stuff like that. And like with long distance, it's like, oh my god, I really want to talk to this person. You can call them and like you text them all the time, and it's really interesting how that works once people take the distance out. But yeah, I personally don't see it as a long distance relationship, just because we just make it work regardless. It hasn't been like a huge obstacle. When you want to see each other, then it's like, okay, hey, like we need to see each other, you know? Try to like plan it, and there's a whole airline ticket, you have to do that, or like drive.
It's a whole thing.
You guys can like go back and forth on who pays what and stuff, but besides that, it's pretty great, and it's really fun. Like, I think it's fun. I mean, eventually you're gonna live with each other, and that's like a couple thing, just deciding the final move. Like, okay, who's gonna move here, and like that whole thing. But I like it.
Other than that, I think that it's been a really great experience so far, and it's cool to have this experience looking back so we can potentially help other people who are going through this right now. But guys, biggest things that you need to do if you're in a long distance relationship or about to be in one, make sure you're committed to yourself, so you're committed enough to your partner, and make sure that you're able to talk to them about, hey, are you committed to me? Are you committed to this relationship? Because you don't want to get into it if that person looks at you and goes, honestly, I don't know, you know, this is different, this is tough, I don't know if I really want to do this. Because then you can get to the point, and then you can save yourself a whole lot of hurting later, right? Instead of forcing it to make it work and not having those serious conversations.
You know, another thing is like, how do you actually see if someone's a committed person? So what I did was, to see if he was committed, I was just looking at, this is like very materialistic, but I was just seeing like his like job history. That's one thing on how you can tell how someone goes about things. So since he was so into his company, and regardless of like just being there, starting it from the ground up and like staying consistent with it, I knew that he would be the same way with me, because like how someone treats one area is how they treat every other area. So just seeing that as a way that you can see if this person's going to be committed to you or not. That's how I could tell.
Yeah, and I was committed to myself. We committed to each other. We found purpose in our relationship and the vision of what we want, and we have constant communication on how we can get better and how we can get through adversity. So again, if you're out there and you're in a long distance relationship, about to enter one, etc., please take some of this stuff and use it as you will. Make sure to internalize it and really think about it. And here's the kicker, guys. If you find out that your partner doesn't really want to be in a relationship or long-term relationship with you, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing that they're warning you and telling you ahead of time, so that you don't get to a place where you get your expectations destroyed, right? Because that's what ends you up depressed at home on a Friday night, swiping right. Right? Straight up. That's what happens, guys. So just be honest with yourself. Be true to yourself and committed to yourself enough to be able to ask that person the serious questions you need to do to understand if this is a good relationship for you, if you want to continue it, etc. Otherwise, shout out to all you guys who are in committed relationships with purpose and not get hit by wasps, and have great communication and are living your lives and really enjoying it. So that's us for tonight. We just wanted to share some of our insight, and much love always.
Peace, peace.
Peace, peace. Oh, also below, if you guys want, there's a Team Growth Facebook group. Feel free to join. We talk about all kinds of stuff related to personal development, relationships, etc. It's free, so please do join if you're interested in this stuff. Otherwise, if you guys thought that any of this stuff was helpful, just give us a thumbs up. We'd like to see that you guys are, number one, engaging.
Comment
number two,
and subscribe. And then like let us know if this is like cool enough to talk about again, or more in depth, because it's
or
nice
what you want us to talk about.
Yeah, because it's nice to know. You know,
We need
plus,
to know,
like,
otherwise we're guessing.
we're super open too, so we'll talk about it. But
Yeah, that's where we're at. Okay, much love. Peace, peace.
Bye.